We've got Pastor Joel Osteen here. Simply put, he's kind of everywhere. Millions follow him on social media, and millions more view his sermons on television, listen to him on the radio, and 50,000 people pack his services at Lakewood Church in Houston every week. Pastor Osteen's message is always upbeat and hopeful, and he wants all of us to be that way too. His newest book is called Next Level Thinking, 10 Powerful Thoughts for a Successful and Abundant Life. Pastor Osteen, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, before we talk about the book, it's just such an interesting time in our culture, and we obviously collectively as a country had a really difficult moment last week. And I was wondering, because a lot of times people go to church on Sunday and they're just looking for a word of encouragement or perspective or hope. How do you feel about what's going on, and what would you say to parishioners who would just feel sad about what's going on, no matter which way you come down on it?
Yeah, it really is. You know, I think, Savannah, you have to turn to your faith, and you have to live from a place of peace, because there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of hurts. You know, life happens. But I've learned when you turn to your faith and you focus on the good things in life, you keep the right perspective that every day is a gift from God. You know, you can live it negative, we can be worried, we can be upset, or we can say, okay, God, this is the life you've given me, I'm going to make the most of it.
Your book is called Next Level Thinking. What do you mean by that? What's the next level?
Well, I think it's easy to get stuck, to think, you know what, I've gone as far as I can. And sometimes just, you know what, I can't get out of this environment. I can't finish school. I can't, you know, it's just easy in our thinking. I think you have to take the limits off of yourself. And I like to say take the limits off of God, because He can take you higher, but it starts in our thoughts. And I think many times we limit ourselves. I don't have the education. I'm not talented enough. I'm not. But you know, if you take that off and you live out of a place of peace and wholeness, knowing that you're fully loaded, that God's equipped you, I believe then you can rise higher.
You know, it's interesting because those sentiments are so appealing to so many who wouldn't want to think that way. But you know, there are people who are watching who are so weighed down by circumstances that they think, you know, all the positive thinking in the world isn't going to change that. How would you counsel them?
You know, I'd say it's a choice you have to make, because if you stay negative, discouraged, it's just going to draw in more negativity. When you turn it around and have an attitude of faith and believe that you can rise higher, it's just a choice you make, and that's what opens the door for God to do new things. So it's easy to stay negative. It's easy to stay doubtful, but I think you just have to get up and you have to make that choice. It doesn't fall on you. It's a choice. I'm going to see the good today. I'm going to believe something good can happen, and I believe that's how we can move forward.
One of the big tenets in the book is recognize your value.
Yeah, it's so important because, Savannah, I think a lot of times we see ourselves as less than. Maybe we feel good about ourselves until we start comparing on social media and other things. But when you realize you have everything you need, you're made in the image of God. He calls each one of us a masterpiece. But I think many times the recording playing in our mind is, I'm not attractive, I'm not talented, I don't have much of a future. Again, it starts back in your mind. You got to see yourself as, you know, as equipped and empowered and talented, not arrogantly, but as who God made you to be. Not better than, but not less than. That I am fully loaded, I'm equipped for the life God's given me.
What about, you have all those followers on social media. That's a blessing and a curse.
I know.
I mean, do you ever, like, read people's comments? I mean, do you ever get down in the dumps? Because you always seem so upbeat and positive.
You know, it's a choice I have to make like everyone else. I think we all have natural personalities, and I've been smiling since I was a kid, but I don't read the negative. I just don't. I think life is too short. You only have so much emotional energy. And I found sometimes, Savannah, when you read the negative, what people are saying about you, you start living from a defensive mode. Oh, I'm going to prove to somebody I'm not this, I'm not that. But you know what? You got to tune all that out. You only have so much energy each day. Don't give it to the negative. Give it to what you're called to do.
And I mean, you're talking about positive thinking. That is its own reward, I think. You know, if you have a good mindset, that itself is a positive thing. But it doesn't mean that your circumstances will always be positive.
Not at all. Not at all. But the beauty is, you know, I think a maturity and a person of faith, I can be positive in a negative situation. And I look at people in the Bible. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit. Yet you never read where he complained. So we're not saying you're positive, you have faith, you'll never have difficulty. Of course you will. But in those difficulties, you can say, God, I may not understand this, but I'm going to trust that you're in control. I'm going to live this day in peace. I'm going to go be good to somebody else. I'm going to have a smile on my face. That's what faith is all about, trusting God when sometimes life doesn't make sense.
Pastor Joel Osteen, it's good to talk to you. Thank you for being here. He'll be back later. Hoda and Kathy Lee will talk to him. And again, the book is called Next Level Thinking. You can find out about it as well as an exclusive exclusive excerpt, go to today.com/shop.